Okay, so after some camera issues, we've got this down. So at the end of last session, we cut it a little close because I was unfortunately sick. My voice was running out. We were running against our time window, or we thought we were. But just to recap where we left off, me and Stephanie have sat there and gone back through and listened to the few minutes of last week's episode. And we'll go ahead and recap as well. So we got you into Alcher's Wax Museum and Hall of History and discovered that, there's some kind of security system and some of the displays might be alive. One of the things that, are obvious is that, apparently your friends Iggy, Blaine, and Tuff were planning to loot the place for some magic items for their bard teacher, and they apparently had some kind of failed attempt at it before and then split up and then came back together. So they, of course, they're the three newest members of your party. Your other member is Ibis the Wizard. Looks like Rasputin. So, one of the things that were brought up at the end of last session
I have a question.
Was to do investigation, yes.
Does he have, the bald spot like Rasputin, or does he have, a full head of hair?
No, full head of hair.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that.
No, he didn't shave a tonsure into the top of his head or anything crazy. But so last week we brought up the subject of investigating the museum, or, I really leave it up to you because you're the player here. So, that was one of the things that was brought up last session. And remember, the creature has ran off into the museum, so it's not like, oh my god.
Yeah. We should definitely investigate the museum.
Okay.
See what the hell's going on.
Alright,
Try
so...
to have some kind of plan before we go in there.
Some kind of plan before you go in any further. So... It stands the question of leave the museum or investigate the museum itself.
I think we should investigate the museum.
Okay.
Maybe scout out a room that's not infested with whatever the fucks.
I had thought about that during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a subject that I was going to broach, is that it's been a while since you guys have slept.
Yeah.
So, the last time, you slept was when you all had loot at the store, and about right now, so let's see. When you landed, it was dark, and then you had the encounters. Ibis had to rest for 8 hours. So about this time, as you all are having this conversation, you see the first ray of sunlight, pierce through the window, the dusty windows of the museum, and start bringing light into basically this very, it was dark panel wooding and everything that you could be able to see, because you have, I believe you have low light vision. There's been a little moonlight, then there was the lamps and everything. So there starts bringing into, focus the light. Mm-hmm. The oil lanterns, they start to dim a little bit as the sun comes up. So as you all are talking, I'd say this conversation of how do you want to go about investigating. Should we backtrack and go back into the main entrance, where we saw like the office, or should we branch off into a different part of the museum, or these start being questions that are broached.
I think we should definitely go in the office because, let's see, at least there would probably be a sofa in there.
Okay.
And the one who's most tired or hurt would be able to, like, get the sofa. Everybody else gets the floor, desk, chairs, and whatever.
Okay. So, Iggy will point out that, remember the office has iron bars across it.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of grate or something that's in the way. So we need to figure out how to get that open. So there's that situation.
Well, I could probably try to pry it off.
Okay. So basically just going up and making a contested strength versus iron bar challenge.
Yes.
Okay. So from where you all are at, it's probably been about another 15-20 minutes. So like there's a little bit more sunlight in. And one of the things that becomes quickly obvious is that there is a lot of dust in the museum that, nothing has really been cleaned in a very long time, it looks like, because of course there hasn't been anybody. But give me a d20 roll plus your wisdom modifier.
Alright. I got a 5.
So 5 plus...
Yeah, so that's 7.
So 7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not a biggie. So you got other party members here, so we'll give them dice rolls too. Let's see here. Because there are 4 other sets of eyeballs. I gotta re-roll one of those. So, as you're talking, you hear Iggy go, "Hey, nobody move." And he goes, "Do you guys see this?" And he will point out to you all that there are... Because does Rav wear boots, or what does she wear on her feet?
It does not say.
So let's handle that one. Do you do the barefoot, or do you have like a moccasin style boot that you wear, or because basically you have to kind of remember that, like we had in our first discussion, and without anybody that's gonna watch this video hating on me, we've already had this conversation. Or does it mirror Native American, what do you want to call it, technology level, to where it's like you have an animal skin boot, maybe like it's a piece of, maybe like you actually have wood that's carved for like the soles of it, or maybe it's whatever your imagination can produce out of it, I guess would be the best way to say it.
I think that she would mostly go barefoot, but
Okay.
would also have, like, boots made out of, like, animal skin.
So what are you wearing right now, though, on your feet? Is the big $1 million question.
Oh, she put shoes on because...
Okay, so you've
there's
been wearing boots.
stuff.
Okay, so Iggy will come over and he looks at your feet, and he looks at Ibis, and Ibis goes, "I have slippers on." And he goes, that raises all kinds of questions, but I'm not going to ask them right now. It seems kind of weird, Ibis. It's a weird sort of thing.
I can understand that.
And of course he knows that he's wearing boots, so is Tough and Blaine. So he points out that there are other people's footprints. And he goes, it looks like it's one set of footprints other than the giant, oh my god, Beast of Brinback, you know,
What the
wax
fuck?
golem, or is it a wax golem? What the fuckness? So, let's see here. As I'm sitting here as we're having this conversation, I apologize to those that are listening, as this is me sitting here and on the fly going back through the map and actually drawing it out as we're having this conversation, as well as planning. So please apologize. I point these things out as always because, you know, there are some of you out there that will one day want to go, I want a DM after hearing all this crazy bullshit. But let me stop digressing. So, from where you guys are standing, you're standing. You went into the Hall of Wax. And then you went in to the Hall of Horrors.
You know, I almost bought a $10 bag worth of Reese's.
Oh my god, do you know how quick that'd be gone with the two of us sitting here and doing this?
I know, that'd be fucking great. Damn, next time I should do that.
Oh no, you're trying to kill me, aren't you?
I mean, me too, apparently.
Office history, crime.
But I'm gonna try light. Save it up.
Okay, so
Jesus.
some of this stuff on the map and the descriptions will be flipped around, so I apologize. You know, whatever and whatnot. So, okay, so from where you guys went, you went from the main hall. You had the office on your right, the Hall of History on your left. You went into the Wax Hall, which was ahead of you. Okay. And then, if I'm reading this correctly, then again on the left it leads back into the history. And then on to the right, it leads to the Hall of Crime. And then, dead ahead of that, you guys went into what would be considered the very last turn of the hall. Into the Hall of Horror. Now, I will give you, again, representation of what the Hall of Horror looked like. As you guys were exploring around, the Beast of Brinback was not the only central figure in this hall. One of the things that you had noticed was that there were what you could call unique undead creatures that were detailed in wax statues. These creatures all had, you know, if you took the time to stop and you read them, they would all have some kind of horrible backstory as to why their continued existence lays in history.
Wow.
So,
Holy shit, man.
welcome to hell. So,
okay, before we go,
before you jump further into this cow's mouth,
yes, did you know that they're remaking Dumbo? Tim
I
Burton
did.
is doing Dumbo. That's so...
So, are we gonna get like a dark and dreary version of
Yeah.
Dumbo, where it's like, is it? And then I have to ask my question because, like, I know it was horribly racist at the time. Am I gonna get three crows like we did in the original? Because
yeah.
I think that's not really culturally acceptable anymore.
Who knows what they're going to turn them into now?
But you know, I think a lot of people miss the fact that they're central characters
Yeah.
to, you know, Dumbo figuring out this whole flying thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to,
And I think at the same time, like, those characters also represent, like, the oppressive state that Dumbo finds himself under.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that a lot of people wouldn't understand that context. Or if they did, you know, they're just going to see it as, oh, well, these three crows are mimicking the racial stereotype of African Americans. But so... a lot of thoughts there.
Absolutely.
But, so, when you guys had gone into the hall, one of the things that I'm going to point out to you is that at a certain point downstairs, all these rooms connect. So there's not a lot of space down here. Because as I said, with the sun coming up, you're going to get more and more visual. You do notice that one of the strange things is that the lower levels seem to, be pushed out in a certain way, and it's reinforced in a very strange way to make some rooms. Like, you notice, like, the entrance rooms that you came into, they sit out at weird angles. Or at least they do now that you see the sun is coming up. And what I mean by weird angles is that, when you're looking around, or rather as you guys are coming back towards the office because you had made that point of, hey, I want to try my strength against that door bars, you notice that some of these walls are a little thicker than they should be. They're not so evenly matched when you start getting towards the front of the building. It's almost as if it's reinforced, or there's something very strange that the architect had in mind for this place. So I will point that out to you. And one of the other things that you notice is that the way that the windows are set is perhaps may have something to do with this explanation. So you guys go back through the two entrance ways that you have basically gone through, which was the 4 split offs, and then back into the main split off. So give me a D20 roll with the strength check.
I got a 14, so that'd be plus. Really? Did I not? Plus 3, so that's 17.
17. So you fiddle with it, and you're like, oh, you're sitting there and you're making the Arnold Schwarzenegger sounds, and you're like, I'm right here, come for me, get to the chopper, the full effect that it's, you're not getting anywhere.
Damn it, come on, I'm tired.
So, that's not gonna happen. So, when we move on to, like, the second part of it, which is, what do you want to do now?
Damn, I'm probably...
Because there may be a security system that, is connected to the doors and everything that will let you get past the iron bars.
Well, we might want to look for that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any suggestions?
Let me give you a few rolls here. Between your NPC party members, they suggest that perhaps with how you all had seen the staircase, that may lead you someplace to where you'll have access to that iron bar, lifting.
Yeah, there has to be like
mechanism.
a switch or something.
So you all can basically just turn around, and you remember where the stairs were. They were right off to the side of the entrance.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'll point out to you is that there are exactly 13 steps that lead up. And then when it leads up, you can't actually see anything beyond that, because it looks like, however it's layered, that your obscured view is meant to, all of a sudden when you step up, that it's meant to hide something or lead into some kind of appearance. But one of the other things that, like I was talking about with the dark wood paneling and everything, and with the windows, it really sets it off, and you can see that there's a lot of nature motifs that are carved into the wood downstairs. So what order do you want everybody to go when you go up the steps?